Webinar on the Power of Purpose, presented by Toby Nagy. In this webinar, we'll define purpose and examine the importance of having a purpose and achieving greatness. We'll also take a look at purpose in business, and we'll finish up on how to discover your purpose in life and the role passion plays in discovering it. Now, before we begin, I'll just give you a brief background about myself. I'm an entrepreneur and educator. I'm also founder of the BCF Coaching Academy. Now, I run a program called the Startup Fundamentals, which allows entrepreneurs to develop their product or service idea into a prototype or MVP within 90 days. So it allows entrepreneurs to launch their business idea really quickly in a low-risk way. I've also been a serial entrepreneur for over 28 years and also a business coach and mentor for over 16 years. I also have been helping educate entrepreneurs for over a decade, and I've been a former university lecturer in the field of entrepreneurship. I'm also an entrepreneurship course developer, author and writer, but I'm passionate about entrepreneurship, innovation and education. So let's begin with what's your why? Many of us sail or drift through life without very little thought about it, like a ship without a rudder sailing aimlessly, not knowing the destination or even having a course. However, as the world changes rapidly in unexpected ways, especially over the last year or so, it has given us a reason to start looking for greater meaning in our lives. And I believe we have hit a new evolution of consciousness. Some things in our lives that may have been neglected now have become very important, such as family and friends, lifestyle, and certainly our health. And some of us may even be thinking, what if I were to die tomorrow? What legacy am I going to leave? Now here is a great quote by Oliver Wendell Holmes, American physician, writer and poet. And he said, most of us go to our graves with our music still inside us, unplayed. And all of us have a purpose in life, yet many of us never discover it. And as humans, it's our birthright. Most of us just follow a program which is set by family, society, our culture, governments, etc. That is, get educated, get a job, go to work every day, get married, buy a house, get a mortgage, become a slave to debt, raise a family, and then retire, with very little thought about a greater purpose in life. All trapped in the cycle of eat, work, entertain, sleep, repeat. And I call this a cycle of the hamster. And as you can see in the cartoon, it says, when I need a fresh start, I just go the other way. And how poignant is that cartoon? And then we ultimately die. Many of us having lived an unfulfilled life, never fulfilling our life's purpose. So then let's define what purpose is. And purpose is the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. And these are qualities that define who you are and what makes you distinctive. It's your personal brand, what you are driven to achieve, and the magic that makes you tick. Now, Craig and Snook, who have done a lot of research in this field, they argue it's not what you do, but rather how you do things and why. It's the strengths and passions you bring to the table, no matter where you're seated. And it's what everyone close to you recognizes as uniquely you and would miss the most if you were gone. So then what is our purpose in life? It's to find your gift or gifts. And we all have a gift or gifts. Most people never discover their gift. And the ultimate form of gift is to bring joy, love, and happiness to others. So what is your gift? Your gift can come in many different forms. Common examples include creative pursuits, such as music, art, writing, and performance. Or intellectual pursuits, such as sciences, teaching, communication, leadership, problem solving, and listening and understanding. Or even sporting pursuits. But there are many other types of gifts. However, many people are never able to discover their gift or gifts. And here is a great quote. What fascinates me is that hardly anyone is wondering what we're actually doing on this planet. Most accepted the work, eat, entertainment, sleep cycle as life and have no desire for a deeper understanding of our purpose in this universe. And here is another great quote, this time by author Mark Twain, and he said, "The two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. And if you use your gifts to help others, then you may be destined to achieve greatness." So where does greatness originate? Well, here's a quote by George Washington, and he says, "Greatness comes from a willingness to do things not for yourself, but for others." So we all have an opportunity to be great. So ask yourself, what legacy do I want to leave before I die? In terms of achieving greatness, here's another quote by George Washington. He says, "We are not born great, but we take a journey towards greatness throughout our lives." And here's a quote by Anatole France, French poet, journalist, novelist, skeptic, and Renaissance man. And he said, "To accomplish great things, we must not only act, but also dream, not only plan, but also believe." So you don't have to aspire to be the next Mother Teresa, Gandhi, or Nelson Mandela to be great. Because greatness comes in many forms. Examples include raising good children who are active members of society, being an active member of a community, helping reduce others' suffering, championing animal welfare or the environment, and giver of love, kindness, and compassion. And most of us squander the opportunity to be great by leading frivolous, unimaginative lives with no purpose or meaning. Now here is a quote by Oprah Winfrey, and she says, "Live your life to a purpose." And why is that? Because then your life will have more meaning and it can become more interesting and exciting. Also, when challenges arise, you will have a reason to solve them rather than just give up. And this is also a hallmark of great leaders and entrepreneurs. And if your life has a purpose, then you'll be driven to create a change in its course. And this is where the magic of life begins. And there are many benefits of having a purpose in life. It has been demonstrated that people who have a purpose in life lead a happier and more fulfilled life. There are also many positive mental and physical health benefits associated with having a purpose leading to a healthier life. And furthermore, studies have shown that ex-prisoners and ex-drug addicts who go on to find a purpose in life have lower recidivism or repeat offending rates. And why is that? Because their lives now have new meaning and new value. And here is a great quote that I love. "Business must be for profit, but profit must also be for purpose." And here is a view on business by Milton Friedman. And some of you may have heard of him. He was a famous economist for the 1970s and 80s who was responsible for conservative economic policies that were adopted by the likes of Ronald Reagan, Margaret Thatcher, and General Pinochet from Chile in the 1980s. And he said the social responsibility for business is to increase profits for the company and make as much money as possible while conforming to their basic rules of the society. Now, the purpose of a business should go beyond just making money. And as fellow humans, we all have a social responsibility to build a better and fairer world. And a business's core purpose must be based upon its core ideology and core values. What does it believe in, and what is its philosophy? What if we were to develop a purpose free from money? So ask yourself, how could you develop the purpose of your business so that if you woke up tomorrow morning with enough money in the bank to retire, you would nevertheless keep working? And what deeper sense of purpose would motivate you to continue to dedicate your precious creative energies to the company's efforts? Remember, it's not always about the money. In a report by global accountants PwC, they say that 93% of CEOs say it's important their organisation has a strong corporate purpose that's reflected in its value, culture and behaviours. So a business must live by its core purpose in order to be seen as authentic and genuine. And people are now seeking organisations that are authentic and live up to their words, whether it's a customer, an employee, or an investor. And people are also now tuned into corporate spin, false corporate social responsibility claims, and greenwash. So what message does your business want to send to its customers and stakeholders, including family and friends? And Craig and Snook argue purpose has now become vital for the success of individuals and organizations, and there is no other development task that is as critical to leaders as developing one's purpose and taking action to realize that purpose. And PwC also argue that 96% of CEOs say it's important for leaders to explain how company values influence business decisions on support of purpose. So what about finding your purpose? Well, it has to be discovered. You're the only one that can do it. It's part of your soul in essence and what makes you, you. And no one can force you, persuade you, command you, show you tough love, etc. And certainly you can get guided by your gurus or mentors, but ultimately it's up to you. The future of your life is in your hands. And here is a great quote by Oprah Winfrey, and she says, "Follow your passion, it will lead you to your purpose." So where do you start to discover your purpose? So discovering your purpose can be through Ikigai. Now, Ikigai is a Japanese term for a reason for being. It's what you love, what the world needs, what you can get paid for, and what you're good at. And at the intersection is what's known as the Ikigai. The word Ikigai usually refers to a source of value in one's life or the things that make one's life worthwhile. And according to Japanese, everyone has an Ikigai. And finding it requires a deep and often lengthy search of self. And when developing your life's purpose, use the concept of Ikigai. By adhering to these principles, it can lead you to a fulfilled life full of happiness and joy. And it's an evolution of the Western principle of, if you love what you do, then you'll never work a day in your life. And here is a great quote by Steve Jobs. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. So then why don't most people discover their purpose in life? Well, if you have not been able to discover your purpose, there may be a range of reasons. Most likely you are struggling or too busy on the treadmill of life, just being able to keep your head above water, managing your life, your rent, food and electricity bills, your children's needs, etc. Our modern lives have a way of keeping us distracted or occupied to stop us finding a real purpose. And when we dig deeper, it often comes down to one main factor, and that is having been provided the wrong roadmap in life, often leading to making the wrong or poor life choices, developing poor judgment skills, and listening to the wrong people or society itself. And successful people have excellent judgment skills. Now let's look at the definition of judgment. It's the process of an evaluation of evidence to make a considered decision. And a judgment can lead to a life-changing event. A good one can lead to ultimate success. And bad ones may have disastrous consequences or even jail or death. Sometimes, unless we are forced to actually confront difficult things in our lives, we don't confront them. Now, it's not necessarily out of laziness, but out of fear. Now, it often comes from not having the correct combination of factors such as guidance, motivation, boundaries, insight, intelligence, wisdom, education, and the courage to take the personal responsibility required to change your life. And here is a great quote: "Fear kills more dreams than failure ever will." And most people lead a life of fear, which is stopping them from going beyond their comfort zones, thus never given a real opportunity to grow. Now let's take a look at the comfort zone concept. Many people live in this zone. The comfort zone is what we call the lazy mediocre zone. And the next zone is the fear zone, and most people never get past this zone. Third zone is what we call the learning zone, and this is where you learn to learn. Whilst the final zone is what we call the growth zone, and those who become successful entrepreneurs and leaders are able to master this zone. And always begin by asking the why question. And is my life going in the direction I want? If not, why not? Am I achieving my goals in life? If not, why not? Am I growing as a person? If not, Why not? So is it time to rethink your situation? And be honest with yourself and start asking, what is holding me back? Now let's take a look at living a life of passion. And we begin with a quote from Elon Musk. And he said, "I've met 0 billionaires or multimillionaires that hate what they do. They all do things that they love. They all do stuff that they are good at, which fuels their passion." Now some of us lead a life without passion. And certainly passion can be a double-edged sword. Too much passion can be delusional, leading to cognitive biases or dissonance, and not being able to develop reasoning or rational thoughts. Whilst not having passion can lead to an empty life with no ambition, just existing. And I love this quote, "A life of passion is a life well lived." Now remember, passion is a great thing, but don't be blinded by it. So then why is passion important? Well, if we have unwavering passion, then this leads to developing a burning desire, or what we call a calling. And if that calling is strong enough, it will lead to commitment, which is a precursor to success. And here is a quote by Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he said, "Passion is a powerful force. If properly directed, it is unstoppable." And here is a wonderful quote by Canadian author Robin Sharma. Now, Robin Sharma is an entrepreneur and a motivational speaker. And he said, "The secret of passion is purpose." Now let's take a look at commitment. Commitment combined with the right action will get you results, regardless of your current circumstances or your availability of resources. Now these are fundamental attributes to being successful, whether it's for personal or business success. And here is a great quote by former US President Abraham Lincoln. "Commitment is what transforms a promise into reality." So your commitment is your power. And here is a video by Lisa Alderson titled "Dare to Stretch Your Boundaries" on how to find your passion. And as we don't have enough time to watch the video, I'll summarize the key points for you. Lisa Alderson is CEO and co-founder of the Genome Medical Incorporation. Now, Genome Medical is a nationwide telehealth medical practice that provides expert genetic healthcare for individuals and their families to improve health and well-being. And she says, as most people fundamentally resist change, embrace change and be adaptable. Take on new experiences. Invigorate your curiosity and spend time doing what you love. And try to pursue something where you're uniquely able to create value and add value. And now you may not find it initially, but it can be something you find over time. And then work out how you can turn your hobby into a paid pursuit. Take the big leap and put yourself outside of your comfort zone. And this is where you learn. And talk to as many people as possible. And create a rapid cycle of product development and get to the market as quick as possible. And remember, get customer feedback along the way. Now that brings us to the end of the webinar. Now I hope you found this useful and enjoyable, and hopefully you're able to implement this into your life. And thank you for listening. See you next time.